Hi there, my name is Ursula and I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I am the mother of two children who were diagnosed on the autism spectrum 16 years ago. My son turned 19 during lockdown and my daughter turned 21. When my son was diagnosed at the age of 3 years and 3 months, my biggest desire was to be able to speak to a mommy who's lived through this. I wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with her to find out, what did you do when you heard that your child had autism, and what advice can you give me to help me on my journey? Mentally, how did you cope with this? Because I was freaking out. I just couldn't find such a mom, and this made the journey very difficult because it felt like I was reinventing the wheel. Of course, they were professionals to speak to, but I wanted to speak to a parent to get their viewpoint, to sort of have a role model. I wanted to speak to someone who had lived through this and came out the other side, and someone who could tell me something positive, that there is hope, that there is a life beyond autism. Imagine if you are such a mommy now and you want to have a conversation with someone who's a little bit further down the road than you are. This is what I'm going to share with you. It would be as if you came to visit and we are having a conversation over tea and I'm sharing my journey with you. I can't put 16 years in one video, and that is definitely not the plan. I want to share experiences that I had. So I'll be posting episodes, sharing what I did, how I did it, and at the different stages of my children's lives. So it would be like reading my story, except you're not reading it, you're watching it, and I'm telling it. So less reading and more watching. I'll be sharing how I found out my children had autism, why I suspected that there was something wrong. I'll share how we decided what to do next, where to seek help, what help to seek, and how much does this help cost. I want to share with you how I, a secretary and a mechanic, my husband, went about financing our children's journey. I'll share how you can generate funds with absolutely no money in your hands. You don't need to have money. There's some parents say, I can't do anything because I don't have any money. I'll show you what we did with no money. I'll be sharing what happens in our home in the evenings and on the weekends when the children are not at school, they're not being tutored, what we as parents have to do, how we have to implement the principles that we were taught at the Early Intervention Center, and how I basically had to be my child's life coach. I'll be sharing how the diagnosis impacted our parenting style, how what we had to start doing, what we had to stop doing, what we had to continue doing, because we weren't doing everything wrong, but obviously we were missing something and we definitely needed some pointers. Because we wanted to see our children progress and we just didn't know how. We were not equipped for this. I don't remember signing up for it, so we needed help. I'll be sharing how to choose a tutor for my child if my child is in school already, or when my child was still in school, and everything that goes with that exercise, the recruiting, the interviewing, contract or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, the fees. On the flip side, I've had tutors ask me how they can charge, the process, so I'll share that. I'll be sharing how close family and close friends can support you in a tangible way that makes a real difference. And we're not just talking about money. Yes, there are ways to sponsor a child and to earn a tax rebate for yourself, but it's more than that. I'll be sharing not only my own experience, but what I would do differently if I had to do it over. If I could do it over. Not that I want to do it over. I want to end off by saying that if any of the videos that I post helps you to make a better decision, a more informative decision to help your child, if it helps you to put on a different mindset that will enable you not only to survive this diagnosis, but thrive and bring out the best in you as your child's life coach, or it encourages you when you hear me sharing, and it gives you new hope, new strength just to take that next step, or it helps you to learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make the same mistakes, then I would have achieved what I set out to do. Have you ever heard of someone saying, "I love you so much, I'll die for you"? Well, my take on that is, and this is just my opinion, I think it's relatively easy to die for someone, right? It takes a second to die. And we're not talking torture, death, we're talking just dying. Someone says, "I love you so much, I'll die for you." It takes a second to die for you. But I think that it's a much better way of proving your love for someone to say, "I will live for you." Dying to self every day, putting the other person's interests first and putting yourself last. That is what I decided to do for my children, and I think it is much more difficult to live for someone than to die for someone. Living for someone is like dying 365 times just this year for that person. That's much more than just dying once. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I've had to say now. Take out of it whatever resonates with you. Go be your child's hero. Like I decided, I'm going to be the hero for my child. My child needs someone who's going to be their champion. And thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to be notified when my next video comes out, please subscribe, press the little bell. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I look forward to our first conversation. So, goodbye and God bless.